Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and we are at day 5 of my 2018 Christmas series. I'm doing pretty good so far. For this one, I'm going to focus on Mama Elephant stamps, but really the dies that came with this stamp set. So I thought this stamp set was absolutely great, and I saw so many possibilities with it. So many mediums you could use to color with it, from Copics to colored pencils to watercolors and so on. But what I also saw with this was when it came to the dies. And what I thought about with the dies was perfect for using our pattern paper stash, which mine's out of control. I'm throwing everybody into that. But I'm also going to use a frame die from oh my god, I just went blank. Oh my goodness, that is too funny. It is the Cloud. Wait a minute, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. There we go, pink and me. It's the Cloudy Frames. And I use that with a piece of mirror silver. Now, the metallic papers that I usually use are by the ones by Tim Holtz. They come in the 8x8 packs. I know he just released 3 more, but this is the gold and the silver. And for the dies, I just chose 3 pieces of pattern paper from my enormous stash, just so I could use 3 of the dies. And of course, the J, the Y, and I'm using the oblong, the different shape ornament for the O. Now, we are going to use the stamp set, so never fear, that will come out to us. So what I'm going to do is I want to use the large star. We're not using many of the stamp set, but I am using some of it. I want to use the large star, and I just want to put that in the center of the ornament. And I'm going to use my silver embossing powder. Because of the paper that I used, now gold would have been fine as well, I think, with these colors. But for some reason, I was just with silver. I grabbed my clear Emboss It pen by Ranger. I am growing more and more in love with this, and I'm just drawing on the top. And what that's going to do is I'm creating the topper for the ornament, so to speak. I'm also going to do that for the J. I want to put an ornament topper cap piece on top of that as well. So far that's the embossing. I was looking at the Y and thinking, what could we, you can tell I was thinking about, and I'm like, no. So we're going to leave the Y alone. We're going to do something different with the Y. So once I have those set, I am going to grab my tweezers, which I bet you all thought I was going to forget because I usually burn my fingers, and I usually do forget. So I'm going to heat up my heat tool, and I'm going to heat set these. Now, since that was on the end of the J, I was okay, but I really don't recommend something this small. Use your tweezers, because our heat guns will hurt. And with something this small and this type of paper, you want to make sure you're taking your heat gun to the front, to the back, to the front, to the back, and just keep doing that. And that will minimize, and notice how I say minimize, the warping. Because you're going to get warping. Just know it. I took the center piece that cuts out from the Cloudy Frame die. That square does automatically, it is part of the die cut. And I placed that against a piece of white cardstock, and I just cut a little bit outside of that edge because I knew the opening was that size. I want this white for my background. I'm positioning the letters that we've die cut, and I'm going to real quick grab a pencil and just put a dot just underneath the letters. Now, you could think, okay, we're going to grab the embossing pen. No, I was using one of the stamps, but we do end up using the embossing pen because I make a boo-boo. You know, that's what we do. So what the pencil line is going to do is I'm putting the little bow piece below that pencil line. I actually don't want the bow piece to show. At least that was my original thought. So again, remember, I always show you my process, the way that I think these cards through. And I have to say, with these videos, I am not doing much editing. Now, there are times where I walk away and I forget to turn the recorder off, so those, of course, I edited out. Or my husband comes in, feels the need to chit-chat, I edit those out as well. Yes, it's a fun time when I'm recording. Anything's possible. So, when I stamped it the first time and embossed, that one all the way over on the left did not stamp right. I tried to go over it. It made it look 10 times worse, so I cleaned it up. So now I've pulled back in the Emboss It pen, and I went over what was already embossed. So we're just going to have these thicker lines, heavier weight lines that are coming down. Now, I let the bow show on all, or I definitely have the bow on all three. All three are not going to have that top bow, and you'll see why. So with the frame, I'm just going to put a thin line of glue just along the edge on each side so that I can put that panel down onto that. And I know, again, since the way that it was cut, I didn't want it too big because I didn't want to go outside the clouds. So it was just a simple process, basically. So now I'm going to go back and position my ornaments. Now, for the center one, I want that one propped up because that's kind of the focal point. Even though the sentiment really is my focal point, that center ornament that's standing in for the O is really what my focal point is on this card. So I want that to have the dimension within my card. So I'm going to set that, and the bow there is going to sit along the top. Same thing for the J. I am going to get the bow to stay there as well, but I'm going to adhere the J straight down onto the background. And you can see I'm not making sure they're straight. I want them to be crooked. Again, it's a playful joy, because that's what joy is. It's playful. So you can see I covered up the bow on the Y. Now you might be looking at that going, looks a little stupid. My matchy-matchy-matchies coming out. It doesn't look right. And that's okay. So again, remember, I did a video, and I forget which one it was. And one of the things that I said, and here come the silver Nouveau drops. One of the things that I said was, we have to let it go. And we sing it. Not that version, but we make it one word. Instead of saying let it go, we say it once. Let it go. So you kind of sing it. Let it go. And that's what you need to do. So instead of having the bow on my Y, I put a bigger drop of my silver Nouveau. So again, just something different, something unique. And again, I struggled letting go of the matchy-matchy. Once I let that matchy-matchy go, it's a whole new world on the other side. I promise. I promise you. So I hope you stick around. I am going to make an attempt, and what I have scheduled for this series is 25 cards or tags or projects. So they can be anything that really just comes to my mind. As always, these are a couple close-ups of the card that we made today. All the products that I used will be listed down below in the video description if you wanted to click on them just to read up a little bit more, see other pictures of them, or just basically check them out. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below as well, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But always remember what's most important. We got a couple things. One, if you like the video, hit that thumbs up. And two, don't forget to subscribe. I'd love to have you here as part of my community. Just giving you some tips and tricks and what I find easy, and maybe that'll work for you. But the number one most important thing, always, be creative.